believe that this card's actually older than I am? Well, parts of it are at least. I've used an old dictionary to make the flowers from. It gives it a really rustic look. The dies I'll be using in today's demonstration are the Thank You die from our new Expressions range. The flowers are from the Finishing Touches called Cornflowers. I'm going to use the border from the Caribbean collection, Border, Corner, and Tag. And I'm going to use the Salzburg from the Austrian collection to use as a frame. This is from an earlier die release, but it's absolutely beautiful together. And for the center of my flowers, I'm going to be using these really cute little 8mm black dazzlers. I think they look perfect for this type of card. So I'm going to start by cutting the thank you into our Kraft card. And this die comes in 2 pieces. I'm just going to use the decorative insert, leave the outside cutting edge. So I'm going to put it into the top portion of the card right there, center it towards the top, and we'll tape it into place. Just like that. And bring over our cutting plates. And I'll tell you what, let's see. There we go. Run that through. Let's check that to make sure we got a nice cut. A little bit more there, so I think what I'll do is just do one more pass through, and I'll turn the plates 90 degrees. That's very easy to do when you're using these mini plates. I just really enjoy these. It's been a recent discovery of mine. There we go, and I'm going to give it a quick emboss to bring out some of the detail in that. So change out the mats. I'm going to put it onto the tan mat with my pink plate and run it through again to give it an emboss. Okay. Now let's get all our little pieces out of that. So I'm going to use my tool-in-one, give it a quick run over, and then underneath the tape there, let's just remove that little bit of tape at the top and bottom carefully. There we go. Okay. Put that back onto our magnetic sheet, and let me just get rid of these bits. And a few more little pieces right there. There we go. So you can see how cute that is. Just so pretty cut out like that. So what I'm going to do is put a bit of red card behind this. So I think we'll just use some glue for that. Just run it around the edge a little bit. You can use double-sided tape if you prefer. And I'm going to add tiny little drops on the back of my larger letters here to hold it down a little bit more. Get all those little swirly bits so they're not floating free. That should probably do the trick about like that. We'll just center that right over the back. Okay, so now you've got a really nice red coming through, and that just pops against the Kraft card, I think. The next thing I'm going to do is I've cut the border from the Caribbean collection. I cut it with the outside edge and the decorative edge in white, and then I cut a backing piece with just the outside edge in the black, and I've glued them together. So I'm going to put them onto my card and trim off the extra bit. And since I'm going to add a bow later, it's going to hide the edge of it, so I'll just cut it so that it's even to this side where I'm going to put my bow. That looks nice. Make sure that's nice and stuck down. And I'll just use my scissors along the edge of the card there. So now we're starting to build up the front of the card. Now what I felt like that really needed was a frame. So I went ahead and cut the Salzburg die in white with the backing in black, just like I did with the border. But what I'm going to do is cut that out in the center. So using the smaller die edge inside of the Salzburg collection, there we go, that's the one I need. I'm going to cut them together. That way I can have a nice clean cut. If you do it all in one cut, it cuts them absolutely evenly. If you tried to cut these separately and then line them up, it would be very difficult, because you might have laid down your die a little bit in a different spot in one or the other of them. Okay, so bring this out. pop that through. And unless your card is really thick, you shouldn't have any problem cutting through 2 pieces. Okay. Get that tape off of there. There we go. See, you've got a nice clean frame now. It works really well. So I went ahead and added some mounting foam to one that I did previously. So let me go ahead and take this off. And I'm just going to raise it up for dimension around that thank you. Now they are a little bit different in size, but they do still look really nice together. And that's the thing with your dies. Look at what you have in your collection and see how they work together in different ways. And you'll get way more versatility out of them. So that will just pop right down in place over the edge of that. Let me just lean in a tiny bit so I can center that. That looks good. Get that on there nice. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is glue this onto some backing card. And there's my glue. And I've just done a red and black to kind of go with the theme of the colors of the card. Okay. Line that up nicely. There we go. So we have a nice pretty mat going all the way around that. And then I've done another bit of layering and matting here with some piercing. So I'll go ahead and put this onto the card and then we'll work to our flowers. I'm going to raise this up with a little bit of mounting foam. I've got a Kraft mat in between the white. Put that right in the center there. Starting to come together. I really like that. Okay, so the next thing I've got are my old dictionary pages. I picked this dictionary up one day when I was in the States for 25 cents, which is about 18p. So it's been really, really good deal for what I use it for, which is making old flowers and whatnot. So I'm going to use the Cornflower here. We'll just pick one of these sizes here, and I've got a few made up, but I want to show you. In fact, we'll do a couple of them. And I have probably, I don't know, there's maybe 8 or 10. They're very, very thin. Trade my plate out there. On there. So you want to layer it up because it is very old paper. And then we'll just keep them on there and we'll cut through them. And that should pretty much cut through all of those. Go. Take those off and undo our tape. Now the tape will probably rip a little bit in the middle section because the paper is so very old. There we go. Take that piece off right like that. There we go. But you can see you've got quite a few in there. So just pop them out with a pokey tool. Now, the easiest thing here would be to use a brad through them because they're all individual pieces. But because I want to use the dazzlers on this, I do need to separate these, which means a little bit of fussiness. So I'm just going to kind of work them apart so the pages become a little more fluid and then peel them up. It's very, very, very gentle. There we go. So you can start to peel all the different pieces apart. So what I would need to do to make my flowers, just to make sure I've got a little bit of glue between all of these and then reassemble it. Okay, so you can see how that's coming about. Now I do have a couple little pieces here. So I've already gone ahead and done these. I've worked the little fibers up so that they're all loose. And part of the beauty of this flower is that it's got kind of an organic feel to it. So it works really well with the rustic nature. So I'm going to put some glue in between this larger section and the smaller one. Pop these two down. Give it a second. Put a little bit more glue in the middle. And I'm going to put a little dazzler there. Get a hold of that guy. Put that right in the middle. And I'm going to give that a second just to set up and glue, and we'll work with our bow forward. So I'm using the lipstick red seam binding, so I'll put that on with a glue dot. Get that all nice and secure. And like I said, I cut the border on this side, so I'm going to go ahead and hide that with my bow. I've tied a smaller bow out of black jute, because I just love how this rustic nature of the jute goes with this. Pop that into place. Oops, there we go. Right on top. And you can spread those loops out a little bit. And then I've got several of these flowers that I've already made ahead of time. So I'll bring them over. And I think we'll just put these on with a little bit of glue. So I'm going to use one of the bigger ones and put that right in the center there. Let that set up. And a couple on either side of the frame. Really bring that around. So I've got that one there. And we'll kind of offset some of the bigger little ones around it. Isn't that pretty? There's a tiny one. They just look so cute, even the little ones. Okay, pop that into place. There you go. So the only thing I think this needs is a little bit of a swirly bit on the top. So I'm going to go ahead and cut just a little piece off of a larger swirl here. I'm just going to loosen it from the acetate. Pop that into place up here. Right around like that. In fact, we can trim off the edge so it tucks right under that frame. There we go. And a couple of stick pins that I've made earlier. Put those into place here and here. There we go. But you can see how this is glued up, and now all you need to do is just kind of work your finger through the fibers and frill it up a little bit so it gets that really pretty cornflower look to it. Isn't that cute? Love the way that looks. So you've got a really nice card finished off with some rustic elements you could use for any occasion. And if you took the bows and the flowers off too, it'd be a great card just for the guys. So think about all the things that you have and how you can use them in different ways. And I think this is a perfect example of something that could be just adjusted a little bit to suit your needs. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and look for us on our Party Craft blog or visit us through our Creative Expressions YouTube channel for more videos.